I don't know why I muted it, but that's fine. So I don't know why my camera zoomed in, but what happened? It paused it.
It's
I
good.
can
I was too
hear
big on my
myself.
camera compared to you, so it's like
Ugh.
we need to balance. It's good.
No, like you're. Actually, are we both zoomed in? Yes, we're both kind of zoomed in. It's whatever. I don't know. Hello, everyone. Christy. Joseph PJ. Hello. Or Jose PJ, excuse me. Looney got super drunk. He hung over today? He said he drank champagne, tequila, beer, and whiskey, and etc.
Etc. Yeah, sounds like a good evening.
That sounds like a terrible combination. I mean, you had me at champagne. Like, I don't fuck with champagne. Not good.
Looney sounds
Oh, that's
like
true.
me.
He went to the fair as well. He went to the fair on Thursday, I believe, because his wife wanted to and he didn't want to. But he said he had a good time, so.
Oh, good. Yeah, that's usually what happens.
He also said she got sick on the Ferris wheel because she had ice. No, she got sick on a ride because she had ice cream and then immediately went on a ride.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Anyway,
I would do it.
Christy, how you been, Zeno? Tell the lovely people how you been.
I've been pretty good. Can't complain. I could. Who's gonna listen?
Did you get the door painted?
Jokes. Door is painted. Door is beautiful. Looks good. Pretty
Nice.
much everything done. Megan's hanging up some misters because we have I put up a mister line over the playground for the kids, so when they're out there,
What is
it's
that?
pretty hot.
Mr.
Just
Line?
like it's just like a water line that I have hooked up. It has like a little spigot attached to it, and you can just pop it, and then it just sprays little mist, kind of like in Las Vegas when they have like a little
okay.
just to
Or
cool
like
you
Disney, how they have the little misters.
down. Yeah,
I think Disney does too, don't they? Universal did. They can get. I mean, it is Florida, so you know people could die just walking outside from the heat.
Yeah.
Is that Lily? That is Lily. Hello, Lily. How'd you
Hey,
sleep last
Lily.
night? Did the neighbors behave? Well, of course they didn't behave, but get some sleep. I don't know why I asked the question when I can't. I'm cleaning my glasses, so I can't see. I can't read.
I need to grab some eye drops real quick. So I picked that Magnum up, and I think it had some, residual gunpowder on it, and my eye was burning.
Miss you. Oh, missed you with water? Is that what that says? For once, it's not me misreading it. It's just I can't see. Can you guys hear Daisy? She's on the patio barking. Everyone's kind of here at the pond this weekend because it's beautiful weather. So I think someone's probably walking down. Ah! Oh shit! My nose piece came off. There it is. Bark. She's keeping us safe for sure. I wonder if she hears me. No, she doesn't hear me. So don't know what this song is. This is not what I put on the chill playlist. There we go. This soundtrack's gonna be very, very strange. I can see again. Hello, everyone. Welcome. I haven't slept yet. Lily, I'm sorry to hear that. Wondering why you were asking if that was Lily. Yeah, because I can't see. Yeah. I saw like a panda face and I was like, I assume that's Lily. But I'm probably Lily. Probably.
Most likely.
Not confirmed, but maybe. It's
Is it Lily Panda? Question mark? I'm not sure.
They have. So, doing some cooking today. I was gonna make. So on the dish is changed to the dish like entirely. Well, kind of. It's a soup that has really like thick egg noodles in it. A stew that has really thick egg noodles in it and is served in a bread bowl, optional. So I am making a bread bowl, and thank you for the recipe, Christy, because my recipe didn't have a bread bowl. It's also supposed to have oxtail in it, which apparently is like I didn't know it was common, or it was like it's a cheap option in like Jamaica area. But we don't get oxtail up here, so we're gonna use beef. And I'm making smashed potatoes, which aren't mashed potatoes, they're smashed potatoes. Boil them, bake, you smash them, and then you bake them. And then I'm making it's a fruit soup. Essentially, it's a smoothie in a bowl. But I'm going to chill it, and instead of putting whipped cream on it, I'm just gonna put it over ice cream, because ice cream makes everything better.
Ooh, ice cream does make everything better. Mash them, boil them, stick them in a stew. That's what
Louise says, "Hey Zeno, can't wait for your stream later."
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah.
Are you streaming later?
Yeah, doing some V-Rising.
Didn't even know you scheduled it. Okay. Nice. Noodles
see how it
added
goes.
at the end. Yeah, they're right at the end. Boil and mash, stick them in a stew.
Ooh.
Oxtail is beef usually. At least here.
I do. I eat ice cream because it's so delicious. Ice cream's like the dirt. Like if you give me like a little bit of, give me a little whiskey or something, and for some reason I just ruin my diet entirely. I'll just like start eating like a tub of ice cream. You'll get me right. That's how they get me. No, I don't want to eat any of that.
I don't have drink first. You put ice cream in front of me, I'm gonna eat it. Ice cream's too good.
It is really good.
Too friggin'. Anyway, welcome. We haven't had a book club in a hot minute. It's been like 2 weeks. 2 weeks?
Mm-hmm.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Been a while.
Yeah, we think we just missed. Yeah, we missed one.
Been a while. Wander, hello. Welcome. Welcome.
No, not right now. No, not. It's too early for that.
But the people want a demonstration.
We'll do that later, maybe.
They want you to entertain them. Entertain you.
I gotta keep my clothes on today.
Really?
Yeah. It's a special Saturday.
I'm not wearing pants, so,
Ooh, tempting.
I'm wearing shorts. Haha. I can open my window now too, finally. So with the whole power issue we ran, actually I can show you, it's right here. We ran a power cable from the house, so one of my batteries was working. Come to find out, the batteries were fine. It's some sort of outside power source that had the issue, and it's been fine all this week. So I returned the ungodly expensive battery backups that I bought, just because I didn't need them. Anyway, because this thing's here, I can't open my window or bugs will just flood me. So, because I take the screen out to actually put it through, and there's like a little towel here that's blocking the other parts. But anyway, problem is solved? Question mark.
So yeah, it seems like everything's been going fairly smooth for you this week. So fingers crossed.
It was the weirdest thing. So the battery backups would not receive power. They would click on and off. But I have a power outlet tester that I plugged into the wall, so when they clicked on and off, I could visually look over and see if the outlet was losing power, and it wasn't. So for whatever reason, the battery backups weren't getting either enough voltage or amperage, and I honestly don't know what the difference is, and I think it was amperage they were messing up. But you notice the power fluorescent? No, during the weekend times, no. I didn't see at all this week. I haven't seen any drops or fluctuations, period, regardless of time.
You've actually been, like, I didn't even think about it, but you've been working a lot smoother, like, than usual.
See? I don't know. I didn't change any. I upgraded and then downgraded back to what I was using, so I didn't change literally anything, but it seems to be working fine. Starlink's also been working better. Like you said, I haven't had any, like, complete cutoffs, which sometimes it'll go to, because you know how like OBS will show you how many kilobytes or whatever you're uploading. Sometimes it would go to 0 and I'd have to wait for it to come back on, but Discord would be fine. I probably would robot during that time, but Discord wouldn't disconnect. And I haven't seen any of that all this week, so fingers crossed.
flares last week. Interesting. That's an interesting thought.
Was there? Solar flares actually, from my time working my previous job, solar flares can really mess with television signals, I guess internet lines as well, especially if because I'm using a dish or a satellite, so makes sense.
That makes sense.
Oh yeah, in the northern, okay, yeah, that's probably what it was then. Well, that wouldn't explain the power. That would explain Starlink, but not the power. So. I don't know.
I feel like the power for you had been maybe an ongoing issue, but like, yeah, throwing a little bit more power from the house with that line in, it could be just like exactly what the doctor ordered you.
Well, yeah, we'll see. I'm running I actually unplugged that, so I don't need it anymore. I'm just running off of the cabin, so we'll see if it happens today.
Gotcha.
Elon said there was Starlink satellite issues. See, you guys know more than I do. I didn't even look it up. I was just like, why doesn't it work? And I just start kicking things and smacking it. Work, damn it. You know.
Give it a little pat.
Yep. The normal Neanderthal way of fixing things. It's not working? Punch it. I did actually. I did the last step I did to try and fix my battery backups was hitting it. So I was like, tried everything else. It didn't change anything. I tried.
Yeah, it usually is always some sort of finesse, but it's always a small little thing that hitting might actually work. Like when I was doing the lights outside.
Sometimes, yeah.
Exactly. Like I couldn't figure it out, so I wired one of them, and then like they both didn't work, and then I was like, that doesn't make any sense. And I realized that the wiring was set up in a way, it was like jank when I opened it up, and it was like there were two wires connected all willy-nilly and taped together when I pulled it out, and I was like, why would you do that? That's so silly. So I just put like one in there, cut it down, and nothing worked. And I was like, oh, I get it. It's because it's wired between each other, so it's actually like shared. So I had to like redo that jank setup, and it was like, yep, it works now. The jank setup was correct.
We opened up the circuit breaker for the cabin, which who knows the last time someone did that, and just seeing all the wires, we're like, oh dear God, because we thought maybe a breaker had gone bad or something, but yeah, it either fixes it or just absolutely breaks it, because like if something's loose, hitting it may like knock it back into place or fully disconnect something. Like it's a gamble, and sometimes that's a gamble you're willing to take. For sure. Ooh, Lily, the neighbors have stopped making noise. I can sleep well, Lily. That's so frustrating.
That's a long time. What kind of noise was it? Was it like
music?
construction?
No, I'm sure it's always music. She hasn't said, but I'm assuming it's music. She says they absolutely blare it every Saturday, and sometimes more per weekend. She has thumpers.
That's like, you can't really noise dampen it because you can feel the thumps in your body.
I'd love to stay, but it's 4 a.m. No, don't stay, Lily. Get some rest. Sleep well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not a problem at all. Well, for those who don't know what we're doing, hi, hello, my name is Wiki Mozzie. This is my lovely host. That way.
I'm Zeno.
Yeah, he's my handsomer better half. And we're doing a book club where we read 5 chapters a week of a book in the Dresden File series by Jim Butcher. And this is Foul Moon, where we're doing chapter 6 through chapter 10. I have my notes here. I was telling Zeno this is the first time I'm actually I went old school and wrote handwritten notes. I'm not gonna show them to you because they're abysmal.
I did.
And I probably won't even be able to read most of these, because the last time I took handwritten notes was who knows when. This is Great Peril. Just kidding. I was testing you, Christy. I was testing you, and you passed. Passed the flying crawlers. Rabble, hello. Welcome. Christy's paying attention. I said Foul Moon. It's not Foul Moon. It's Grave Peril. Anyway. I'm gonna call it Forgot his name for a school. What? Who? What? I'm not either, Wander. It's all good. All good. I haven't had coffee today. I had some a caffeinated beverage, but I did not have any coffee. I feel like it's not the same. Sometimes coffee just hits different. No, most times coffee just hits different than like in powdered energy drink or something. I forgot my name. No, it was pause for dramatic effect. I was like, you know, that hip rapper.
Wicca, slim giblets.
You know, little Maz. Lil Maz. Wait, Lil?
I've heard that.
Lil Maz. That's my rapper name.
Oh.
No, I actually almost said my real name. That's why I was like, wait, nope. That's not it. Anyway.
Lil Maz. Is it because you have like one little hand or something?
Take my strong hand. God, I wish I had one of those little toy little hands, those so that you put on your finger.
Yeah. Yes.
So funny.
I love those. My son found that hilarious. We got those at one point, and you stick them in a jacket and just touch his face.
Hooser used them during her work meeting, her work calls, like her work Zoom calls. She told us about it one time. Oh, good. How's your hangover, Looney? Carolina Reaper, is that helping at all?
Carolina Reaper. Uh-oh. He's sweating.
Slim your giblets. I'll slim your giblets.
Uh-oh.
Anyway, where we last left off. What happened when we last left off? Oh yeah, they ran into they defeated Agatha Hagglethorn. And
his
ran into
very attractive godmother showed up.
So the way I took it was she was like, it was kind of like Bianca. She's beautiful, but wrong. Like it's too weird. Like things are off. I don't know. Well, she also has like the vertical slit eyes, like a cat.
Yeah, like cat eyes. Yeah, like a little creepy. But she kind of looks like almost too good to be true kind of deal. Like
and scary. Yeah.
Yeah.
Leah, the godmother. God, and I forget his name, but the reader. For the audiobooks.
James Marston. I want to say Marston, but it's
Marster?
not. It's Marsters, yeah.
I thought it was
because
Marsters. Okay.
I think of Red Dead every single time.
Oh yeah, Jim Marston or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Hey Shania, how's it going? He reads all the characters really, really well, but he did a really good job with Leah as well. Which we get a little bit more insight with the interaction between Leah and Harry and her like almost snake-like demeanor. But she does let it reveal that Harry. Well, okay, so I kind of missed this part a little bit. Harry made a deal with her when he was young. We know that for a fact. She says it. He made a covenant with her, which means Michael can't intervene with her taking him. But she also said something about his mother, Harry's mother, swearing to her as Harry did as well, which I wasn't really sure if. Go ahead.
Well, that kind of comes back to the information we got last book, where the demon said that she had some sort of dark past, but then she was able to redeem herself.
Right.
So she never. So and it sounds like maybe this was the person again that she had pledged whatever to her soul or whatever, and got out of it, and maybe Harry did as well somehow. So, but
normally fae creatures, which it's the never, but these are kind of equivalent to fae creatures.
He does say fae, I think.
Does he at one point?
Of the fae, yeah.
I think they're kind of synonymous in a sense, but they tend to like making deals, much like demons too. They like demons make deals for souls. Faes kind of do as well, but they're more tricky. She became the godmother somehow. Someone agreed to that. That's true. So normally a godparent is assigned by the parents. Like your parents say, will you be the godmother of my child or godfather of your child? So it makes sense that it would be kind of a similar fashion. But Leah uses kind of her lure, kind of enchantment, her own like fey magic to try and convince Dresden to come with her, which he says that he can't resist it, only in short bursts for a few seconds. So he kind of like lets her power take hold of him and like lets her kind of draw him closer. And then he has the awesome line of like, I'll go with you when hell freezes over. And then he just dumps the ghost dust on her chest, which also one amazing line. He's like, there's not much documentation of what happens with Fae when it comes to depleted uranium, but there is when it comes to cold iron. They don't like it, and it absolutely like burns her and just kind of like almost like acid. That's how I kind of pictured it.
Even worse so, because it's kind of like eating her skin, and it sounds like it's like burning and curling and like peeling and like really strong reaction, like instant. I can't imagine any acid working so quickly is what I'm thinking. More fiery or something, you know?
Christy says like holy water on vampires.
Yeah, exactly.
That sounds right. So that gives them a moment, and this is like she I don't even not entirely sure what she says when she curses at, well, she does say like wicked child, poisonous child, things like that, but when I think she yells Dresden, but James, when he read it, it's almost like indistinguishable what she said. It's almost just like straight rage. He did, again, awesome job. He did such a good job reading it. But that gives him a moment, Michael and Harry, to make a break for the portal.
Joseph, how dare you?
Sunlight on gamers. Tell you what, I got some good sunlight yesterday. Such a nice day. Sat out on the patio and just let it bathe over me. It was so nice. Anyway,
it was a good day. We actually, so we got like this little projector that we broke out like a little sheet and we watched a bit of Shrek out there with the kids.
Oh, nice. That's cool.
That was fun. The bugs were bad. You gotta spray.
We're just at the point where the bugs haven't hatched yet. If you give it maybe like a day or two, it's gonna be really bad, but it's so nice. I think that's why people are trying to take advantage of this weekend. Because when the bugs go out, like I was saying, we have black flies, and they'll just take they're like smaller horse flies, or bigger normal flies, but they bite like horse flies do. So.
Ooh, yucko.
Oh, she yelled treachery. Oh. Yeah, if you go listen to the at least I couldn't like really distinguish what she said. If you go listen to the audiobook, it's really good.
I really like kind of the way that he writes, so the skin drying and cracking before his eyes, you know, that kind of like,
oh yeah,
like that imagery. Oof.
The description of most of what he writes is so very good. Just looked up. Nice. Yeah. Is it not saying over there? Wander asked Looney if he had some of the hair of the dog. Which, if you have a hangover, it's booze. You have a little bit of booze. We talked about the Oyster Prairie, I think is what it's called. The drink from Cowboy Bebop to cure a hangover.
Yeah. Oh man, I forgot about that.
Treacherous, poisonous child. No, it was before that. You're my... Yeah, no, she yells something before that, I thought.
As your mother swore unto me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, exactly. So
because I remember the treasonous, poisonous... Oh, it is treachery. Okay. She yells treachery, and then she says treasonous, poisonous child. Got it. Okay. Chantel, oh my lord. Thank you so much for the $3 super chat. Very kind. You don't speak English over here, Mozzie. Here, we just call it... Okay. But I typed out the other one. Show where it's gotcha. Okay, thank you, Chantel. That's very nice. Very much appreciate it. Really, you don't speak English over there, Looney? That's surprising. I lost my place for a moment. Sorry. Oh yeah, and then she's like, if I can't have your soul or something like that, I'll take your blood. And then she fires a fairy fireball at him or something, which he's able to block and block, and it sends them flying into the portal after a brief back and forth with the Hellhounds.
Because the fight with Agatha Hagglethorn, what a tongue twister.
It is really.
Was burning the whole place down, so she
yes.
used the fire surrounding made some fairy green firebomb.
Yeah.
Oh, you are an absolute stallion.
Yes, Chantel, thank you so much. Again, absolute fantastic. Thunderbolt of braided emerald and a violet power. His face,
so
yeah,
crazy looking.
It's very cool. But yeah, sends both of them, because I guess he went in first, back into the nursery where the babies are crying but fine, and they're covered in ectoplasm and also their own blood from numerous, splinters and scrapes and cuts from Agatha Hagglethorn, and also bites and scrapes from the Hellhounds, and I'm sure a little bit of charring from the fairy bolt. But they also act like super nonchalant about it, because like they're safe now, but there's absolute chaos going in. The nurse looks in the room, sees like them for a moment, and goes screaming out of the room and goes and gets the police. Or I guess maybe the police is already chasing them from...
It was because, the police chase originally, so the police were still after him the whole time. I cannot believe that. He was pissed. That officer would be so pissed.
Oh, yeah. Because it started off speeding, and then it turned into a chase, and then it turned into them losing him. I guess they caught up eventually, but yeah. But my favorite part is that Michael is kind of shocked at Dresden. He's like, Dresden, you lied to your godmother. And he's like, well, yeah, but no, not really. It was more of just tricking her. And he's like, I thought you were an honest man. He was like, what? No. He's like, that's not how we're supposed to win. We're the good guys. And he's like, she's a fairy. No. Trickery is like a part of it, part of their culture. And then as they're having this conversation, like the cop busts in the room, and they have their hands up, and they're trying to be the most unthreatening they can possible, I think is what he said. But they get arrested. So Mozzie recording music. Lil Maz. Yeah, my track will come out 2026. Keep an eye out for it.
Lil Maz.
It's gonna be a Christmas album though.
Oh, okay.
Christmas album with Halloween tracks as well. Why not?
Ooh.
But it's gonna be released in July. Plot twist.
Okay, everything is just... I don't know what to think about it yet, but I like it.
He was disappointed in Harry, yeah, for that he wasn't honest. Yep, exactly. Hey, OG, what's up, man? Welcome in. Which I think it's funny because Michael is almost like, not naive, that's not the right word for it, but he's just so pure of heart that he's just like, they're fighting a very powerful, angry fey creature and hellhounds. And the main thing he took out of that was that Harry lied to her. It's like, oh, Michael. Oh, Michael.
Oh, Michael.
But yeah, that wraps up chapter 6. What did chapter 7? I love, this is kind of dipping back to the previous chapters as well. But that was our first encounter with the Never Never. What did you think? So what you expected? Did you expect more? You excited to go back?
I mean, it was just a little taste, a little piece of the Never Never, and it was in some ghosts, section of it essentially. And again, I mean, they're about to bring up the whole godmother thing. Got that really fast, like whoosh, she just was there. So that's questionable.
I don't know if I added in my notes. I think it may have been at the end of chapter 6, but he did mention that, like, how how did they find them so fast?
Yeah, exactly, and that's just.
And
I'm not sure of the twists in this one yet. I haven't got any good grasp of anything that I should be thinking or should be, because we're dealing with Ghost right now. We still don't have a lot to go on, but
no, we really don't. We're kind of just getting they're kind of laying the foundation. We also haven't, like, we know that the ghosts are like more active, the more powerful, but we don't really have, like, there hasn't, like, in the first book, yeah, and the second book, there was a murder, and that's kind of like what we jumped in on, like, it's like, oh, there's a murder, and then things got to, like, we kind of followed those breadcrumbs and it unfolded. We had a place to go. And this one, we don't really have that yet.
Yeah. I mean, we've had that one female character earlier.
Yeah.
But she seems so
What is her name?
Like,
I have it in here.
There's so little.
Lydia.
Given with Lydia, yeah, so little about her that it just doesn't feel like it's connected very much at all yet, except for the fact of Ghost sent her to the church. So
yeah, she has the tears. Whatever tears? Christina's tears. The, like, I guess, kind of clue that we have of Lydia, that she is prone to premonitions. But yeah, chapter 7 starts with Harry and Michael in jail. Shocker. I also love that while they're in jail, Harry's ranting. Yeah, I think ranting's the right word. He's frustrated for sure that they're in this situation that they can't explain to the cops. Well, they could explain, but they'd probably just stick them in an asylum or something, of, like, what they were doing, that they were actually the good guys and they're being arrested. And he's definitely ranting about what he's being arrested for. It's a whole list of stuff, and he said, and to top it all off, illegal parking, which was my favorite. But it was like reckless driving, speeding, evading the police, something else, and then illegal parking on top of it, which is just great. Cassandra's tears, Cassandra's tears. Right. And then and then they get bailed out, and we meet Michael's wife, which I love her so much. Her name is Charity. What is her last name? I don't think I wrote that down. Either way,
Carpenter.
Is it Carpenter? I thought he was a carpenter.
I don't know. That's the last name she calls him when she's saying, so I assume it was his last name, but he is a carpenter, so I have no idea.
Oh, marathon's still on. Let me turn it off. Sorry. That's a good point. 1 sec. What do you think of Charity?
It is Carpenter. Okay.
It is Carpenter? Okay. Well, there you go. Okay. Sure.
Because back in the day, your last name always came
was your profession.
So
that makes sense.
I assumed.
Second.
Don't tempt us with more marathons, sir.
I need to turn off the redeemable too. Just trying to find it. There it is. I mean, you can redeem it if you want. I'm not adding points to this or time to this stream, but you do whatever you want, guys. No, I'm just kidding. I turned it off. Don't tempt me, Frodo. Well, speaking of which, we are doing a 12-hour stream at some point next week, so I'm gonna get that set up. I'll probably do it Friday, because that seems like the normal good time. Which, if you're free, well, we're gonna be playing crazy. Well, okay, we'll talk about that at the end, about what we're gonna be streaming on Monday, whether it's Grey Zone Warfare, if you want to stream something different. I'm down for Grey Zone Warfare, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. Yeah. So Charity is Michael's wife. She's a angry pregnant woman, and I love her so much. She fits with Michael so well. She came off as very headstrong, very authoritative, to the point where, like, she didn't look Dresden in the eyes, but she was able to look him in the face without looking him in the eyes, which he said is rare that someone's able to do that. She's not a huge fan of Harry, because I think mostly because he gets Michael in trouble. Yeah, he's a troublemaker. She has, in terms of physical features, the only one I remember is what she was pregnant. She's short and she has golden hair. From the description, I didn't write any of the other stuff down. Oh, and then she was like, "How dare you let my Michael get hurt?" And Harry's like, "Well, I got hurt too." And she said, "Good, maybe that will make you more wary in the future." And he's like, "I'll have you know." And she's like, she grabs him and she's like, "I'll have you know." And she's like, Jesus. She's so cool. I love her. But she was scary. She was scary angry. And then she eventually goes, like, Michael embraces her and they leave, and Harry said something he thought something very interesting. He said, like, they're like the perfect couple, the perfect relationship, the perfect marriage, which he felt like Ebenezer in a Dickens novel, where he's like looking at a chicken dinner from outside through a window, like that. He's like, he was never one for relationships and they never really worked for him. And that's when Susan comes up, and I thought it was a kind of an interesting thing to bring up, because it's yeah, humbug. Because he also has a really hard time telling Susan that he loves her, which happens literally right here. Because she well,
like,
first off,
I was that important to you.
Yeah,
She hits him
exactly.
with the hard truth.
Exactly, but talking about his work, and that's when he tries to say that he loves her and ends up just kissing her. Before that, Susan does ask, like, what's the story about Charity and Michael? And I love that Harry's just like, well, you know, they had a great start. And she's like, yeah. He's like, yeah, he saved her from a fire-breathing dragon. And it's just like, okay, sure, why not?
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then we learn a little bit more about Michael, that he is he's one of 3 knights, which they call the Knights of the Sword. They call them Knights of the Cross. Other people call them Knights of the Sword, because all 3 possess what they believe to be the 3 weapons given to man by God, which have I don't know if all of them have a nail of the cross, and his is embedded into the design of his sword, Amaracus.
3.
Mm-hmm.
One in each hand and one in the feet.
Yep. So I thought that was kind of interesting, extra lore to Michael. Oh, he also says that he is a righteous man, and Susan thinks that he means self-righteous, and he's like, no, like righteous, like humble, like all. That's what gives him his powers. He is a righteous man. He lives his beliefs. And then they have this exchange, and they lovingly embrace, pull away as some cops come by and smirk. But Harry's exhausted. I feel like Harry spends most of his time exhausted, because that was the whole theme of the first 2 books, pretty much, is he's just always exhausted, and now he's exhausted.
Yeah, we're coming in kind of like hot. He's been like doing this.
We are,
like,
yeah.
It sounds like he's been working out though. You know, he's getting like a lot of workout here. He's getting like bam, 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 because this is like 3.
It is
in a
third,
row
yeah,
kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, because he had the Beast at the university, and he also had a like cultist ritual killings or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, you are right. He's coming off of 3 back-to-back jobs that were really tough. Well, hard enough that he had to seek help with Michael. So they were pretty tough. But yeah, so they kind of like, all right, let's go home, and Susan, because the Blue Beetle's impounded, go figure, she gives him a ride back home in her car, and they pull up to his would it be considered studio? It's a basement apartment.
I don't think it's
not necessarily a studio, but it's a basement apartment.
With a second basement.
Yeah, sub basement. Yeah, for his potion. Yeah, it sounds like an awesome place. Well, other than the fact that there's no hot water, there's no heating, there's no electricity because he uses an ice box. The first thing that Harry notices when they pull up is Mr. is not greeting them. Apparently that's like always when he pulls up, Mr. is there to greet him. And he said that should have been the first sign of something being off. And then he feels a cold energy as two figures step up from the basement steps that lead to his apartment. And they turn to be vampires. He can sense that they're vampires before even like seeing them, because he hasn't described them at this point, not until the next chapter, which I thought was kind of interesting.
Before he says, like, he sees like their eyes, I think, just for like,
oh, maybe
they're just dark eyes
and fangs, maybe.
I don't know if he sees.
I don't think he says fangs.
He sees the eyes, and he already knows, but he probably knows just from the present, that cold presence, I guess, that they're giving off.
I think he also can sense the hunger, which he kind of mentions here in the next part. But that's the end of that chapter, going straight into chapter 8. These two chapters flow. Actually, I think all 5 of these chapters flowed really well together. There wasn't really like I was gonna say downtime, but like, yeah, there wasn't like.
Because I actually kept going a little bit into 11 on accident because I didn't think it was done, and I was just like, and then I was like,
10 is short.
How much longer do I? Yeah,
10 is very short. Like on the audiobook, I think chapter 10 was 13 minutes. It was very short. It was one conversation, and that was kind of it. But we'll get to that in here in a second. But going into chapter 8, we're introduced to these two vampires that they feel like they're plucked right out of a horror movie. They're two vampires. There's a male and a female. They both have I think golden blonde hair, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
They're in all white tennis clothes, and they have their blue striking eyes, but they, like you said, they're kind of like off a bit. And they introduce themselves. Well, Kyle, the male, introduces themselves as associates of Bianca's. If you don't remember, Bianca is I don't know if we know her title, but she's the most powerful vampire in the city, in Chicago. And her reach is pretty vast, which we met in book 1. Yes, book 1. And he introduces him as twins. He is Kyle Hamilton, his sister Kelly. Kelly is very off-putting. Kyle says it in his conversation. He says her ascension, that I'll get to that here in just a second. I don't remember her previous title, but she's on a diet because Kelly says that Bianca sent them, but Bianca never said anything about him smelling so good. And he's just like, oh, and she flicks her tongue out and it's got like black spots on it. Yeah, he's like,
that was the only thing that I thought was like a little different from any other like normal vampire you might see in a horror film, is like the black spots on the tongue, and they got the elongated tongue, sure, which is pretty normal, but the black spots, is that because she's hungry, or? No,
I think it's the toxin, because he told Susan not to look directly in their eyes and not to let them lick them, and I think that's the Peril. I don't think it paralyzes it, like. He says it's like a drug.
Seductive, yeah, like a.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Unless it's like something else, I'm not sure. Yeah. Chantel's back. Welcome back. Yeah, if Kyle does say in her previous title, Christy, if you could let me know. I don't. Well, I'll get to it in a second. But he says, "Pardon my sister." Kyle says, "Pardon my sister. She's on a diet," which I don't know. I don't know what the purpose of a diet would be. Because, like, vampires don't age.
Why would she be on a diet?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, maybe she hasn't eaten yet. That makes sense. But if she's on a diet, I don't know. That just seems strange to me. It may have just been a joke, though. I don't really know. Only her sending one? Okay. Which, if you... here, we'll just jump ahead to that real quick, because it's right here. Kyle says the whole reason for them being here, because Dresden's definitely on edge. He's like, okay, why are you here at my house? Kyle says that he was sent, or they were, no, sorry, he was sent specifically to be a envoy to, is envoy the right word? Whatever. Envoy, herald, that's the correct word, herald, to deliver an invitation to Dresden specifically for Bianca's elevation to Margravine? I think, yeah, Margravine status within the Vampire Council. Did I get that right, Christy? Is it Margravine? Oh, that's a good point. Christy says that she might be restricted. What's up?
I don't know how to say that either.
Margravine?
Yeah, Margravine. Sounds like you're saying it correctly.
Margravine? Okay.
What I'm reading,
Yeah, I've never heard the word before, so I just thought it was a status that was invented by Jim Butcher. But Christy says that, talking about Kelly, she might have been restricted because of her behavior, not because of losing weight. That would make sense.
Ooh. Yep.
That would make sense. If maybe she killed someone or did something out of line, which we kind of feel like she might, because she seems on edge.
She's a little nasty. Yeah, she's a little nasty.
Mm-hmm. Because, like, when she says that he smelled so good, Kyle, like, physically, like, touches her to hold her back, and Jim Butcher says that it was both a, like, kind of an affection way, but also physical restraint way. So, yeah, she's a little unhinged. But either way, they're having a ball for Bianca's ascension, and this is a formal invitation to Harry Dresden, representing the White Council, to join them of this thing being hosted by the Vampire Court. So it's very all official, and that's the only reason Dresden's like, okay, you know what? I have to accept this. I have to. Well, he doesn't have to go, but he has to accept the invitation and act cordial-ish to the vampires, because I mean he did threaten them with a blasting rod, to the point where he says, "Bring me the invitation," and Kyle and Kelly step forward, and he's like, "No," and points the staff at her, and he's like, "No, listen, I know how this works. You know how this works. You have protection. I have protection. She does not have to follow the rules, so you stay back." And yeah, and that kind of angers both of them.
And he pulls out the blasting rod and it like glows. And he's like, "Whoa, come on now."
The equivalent of pulling out a revolver and cocking the hammer at someone is just like, listen, no, you back up.
Mm-hmm.
And she's a crazy person. She is a crazy person. That's true. Yeah, she's a crazy person. And then he gives him the invitation, and Kyle kind of lets his rage out a little bit and says, "You better be there. Like, you better not disappoint my mistress." And Harry's like, "I said blow," and then he uses the wind magic to like stain their pearly white tennis wears, and like their hair is just all frizzy and stuff. Oh, also, when they got angry, like their blue eyes like turned black, like all black. Which I think Bianca did when he enraged her. I think she did something similar. But yeah, and then they kind of scared off by the magic, they bounce.
I love how he stuck to the blow. I said blow.
yeah. I felt like it was a very weird word to like maybe get lost, but he's like, "All right, blow." And it's just like, what? Did my Discord freeze? I think my Discord froze.
Well, maybe.
It did this last time too. See if I can restore it. Hang on, guys. Oh, my Discord actually may have just crashed. I mean, you can still hear me, but it's all white.
Oh, gotcha.
I love the pettiness of what Dresden does. It's so funny. Oh, for sure, yeah. He's like, "Your nice clothes. They're not so nice anymore."
Turned into this hideous fleshy black creature. Oh yeah, she full changed. Yeah, at that point.
All right, I'm gonna close Discord. I'll be right back.
Self showing. Oh, okay. So like on their hide, their hideousness, their black spots are all over. Ooh, black fleshy creature.
You know that, okay. All right. Let me try and relaunch Discord real quick and fix this. I don't know why this happened last time too. It seems to only happen when I use my camera with Discord. Oh, which means I don't think I can turn my camera back on. Because usually I have to turn my camera on before I open Discord. Well, we're gonna find out and see if it works. I also forgot to open this up. Can you hear me? Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Hello?
Hello?
I don't know if this is gonna work. I think this happened last time, and
Yeah.
oh nope, it works. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll leave that up. If it freezes again, then I'm just gonna leave it off. But I do remember that happening last time. Can you hear me now? You can hear me now. Yeah, thank you, Christy. I forgot about that with the exchange with Bianca. With the spats.
Yeah, me too.
Hello. Salut. Where did I leave off? Right here. Oh yeah. Then afterwards, Harry almost like he has to catch himself with the staff. He's exhausted. Susan helps him downstairs, which at this point, Mister does come out and shoulders into Dresden, which he actually almost falls. Only saved by Susan putting an arm under him and steadying him. But they go in. Oh, it's Matt. He said it's 30 pounds. That's a huge cat. That is a dog. Yeah, that is a dog. But they make their way inside, and if you're not familiar with Dresden's apartment, he gives another kind of description of it. No electricity, dark, candles, and about his lifestyle. Having a refrigerator that is an ice box, old school ice box, things like that. But they settle down on the couch, and Susan asks him a little bit about the exchange and what happened, and about wanting to go to this event, because Kyle did say that he can have a guest, and he's like, yeah, well, first off, I'm not going, and you're certainly not going, because though vampires like to they like rules, they stick to the letter of the rule. Whereas, like, say, for example, if there's a drive-by shooting and the place is shot up, he's the only mortal inside, takes bullets and dies. Everyone else is immortal, and they're like, oh, what a shame. So, like, he's pretty sure that if he goes, his life will definitely be in danger. I have a feeling that Susan, because she is so persistent, is definitely going to talk him into going and bring her with him, but we'll see what happens there. Right?
I think you're right. Yeah.
She's so persistent, like, it's hard to say. Then she asks about the White Council, and equates them to the Vampire Court, but just for wizards. And he's like, oh, damn. Yeah, that's exactly what they are. But he tells her, no, nothing like that. She's like, you're a terrible liar.
Yeah. Nah.
And then she kind of implies, like, well, wouldn't the White Council be angry with you if you don't go? And he's like, well, yeah, but they'll be angry with me for being impolite. Whereas if I go, I'll die, or I could die. She's like, you faced werewolves and stuff. You'll be strong. He's like, yeah, but why put myself in danger? But he gets fed up with the conversation and tries to stand up and nearly passes out. And she's like, okay, you know what? I hate to bring this on you. And then she kind of like keeps bringing it, like, well, what about this? What about that? And he's like, yeah, you know what? No. And then he diverts to Smexy time as a distraction.
Yes, he does.
So that's the end of chapter 8. That's also, it's pretty hot and steamy sexy time too. This is our first time, other than I felt like this was steamier than the last book before they went into the big fight.
Yeah.
So, anyway, here's Maxie time. She's very excited about the party. She is very excited about the party. Well, she also says like the 10 minutes of footage that she got from the werewolf or the loop guru, which was only aired for like 3 days or something, got her more headway work-wise than 5 years of work. So like she said, this could be like a make or break for her career, going to an event like that with beings like that. So, but
It's fair.
he's very persistent. Then we go into chapter 9, which I actually I lost track of this first part. I didn't realize there were two separate dreams. I thought it was one dream, so I was really confused, like it all happening in the same dream, but it's separate. So
Yeah.
it starts with, after their hot and botheredness, they obviously fell asleep, and then it goes into Harry's dream while he's sleeping. The first dream is of a cave with crystals in it, where Leah, his godmother, is, and Harry's chained up with like these manacles that have like spikes that are, I think, around his, on the inside. I think they're around his wrists or his hands or something like that, and they're bleeding him into bowls. Very like ritualistic, it sounded like. And Leah says specifically, and she's all like seductive and stuff, all that. But she says specifically, soon, only a few more nights of the dark moon, then you will be strong enough. What do you think that's all about?
I have no idea. It's a little. It's too vague again. I'm just like, wow.
It's very vague.
Whoosh.
Exactly, Chantel. Steamy, like sauna.
Sauna steamy. Oh. Sweaty.
One of those Asian bathhouses. But anyway, I'm kind of wondering if it has something to do with the pact, the covenant, the agreement that he made with her, but I don't know. We'll see. Getting more of those breadcrumbs, and this is where because it like hard cuts to another dream, and this is where I kind of got lost.
We jump over to Justin.
Yeah, it's a dream, but also a memory of Justin being burned alive, and Dresden watching, which was very vivid of like the crackling of the skin and things like that, and Dresden forcing himself to watch, but eventually having to look away. And I think as he looked away, that's when that dream. He heard a pounding, and it kind of like took him out of the dream. So we know Justin died previously. Like we knew this already. We also know Harry killed him. Yeah, it was Harry's doing. So now we know that Harry burned Justin alive. I'm also wondering if Harry thinking that he killed him isn't what we think. It's not that he killed him, but Harry considers himself responsible for his death. That's what I'm wondering.
It sounded like in that moment he's forcing himself to look at him because he's causing the fire, maybe, and he has to keep eye contact for the spell. That's just a thought. I just thought.
I also got a weird sense that Harry was enjoying it. I don't know why I thought magic, that. Oh, right? Maybe.
Could be that black magic draw.
Yeah. I don't know. Sure. Christy, I'll never tell.
I'll dream.
Hey, Boss Killer, what's up, man? Welcome on in. We'll find out. We'll follow these breadcrumbs like Hansel and Gretel. The breadcrumbs with them? I don't remember. Looney with this breadcrumbs? I don't. That's one of your folktales, right? Hansel and Gretel. I'm bad. I'm sorry. Oh yeah, so he wakes up to pounding noise. It's actually just Michael pounding on his door, which Dresden doesn't know, and he's like, "Yeah, you can beat all you want on that door. It's reinforced, whatever. After a demon, yeah, reinforced steel. Yeah, after a frog demon knocked it down." Not the 12. Yeah. Well, that's why I try not to read past our 5 chapters, because I know I'm gonna do that. I'll be like, this thing happens, and I'll say it, and I'll be like, oh shit, that doesn't happen yet. So, but no, it's understandable. We have all the knowledge, Christy. But yeah, it's Michael pounding on the door, and he has news that something tried to get into the church last night. He asked him if he sent someone to the Saint Mary of Angels, which is the name of the church. And he told her about Harry tells Michael about Lydia and a little bit, and then Michael tells him that something tried to force its way in the church last night, and asks Harry to come with him to talk to the father and see what exactly happened. As Harry lets him in, and Michael sees the scene of oh, I didn't know you have company, sorry. Do I need to talk to you about premarital sex, Harry? It's like, no. Oh, Michael. And then he asks him again, did you tell her? And of course, Harry's like, tell her what? But he knows, he knows. He's like, did you tell her that you love her? And he's like, I almost did. He's like, you almost did? What do you mean? And he's like, well, we kind of got busy. And he nudges the shoe, and he's like, okay, yeah, I see that. Anyway, love that. I love how pure Michael is. It's just so funny. But yeah, then they both go to the Saint Mary of Angels, which is a big church that's themed after St. Peter's. Yeah, St. Peter's Church. Big and grand, kind of over the top. But they go around back. Oh, before that, Harry talks about a couple things that I actually found really interesting. He talked about the time of day, which we kind of already know. He said that the magic is really strong. My camera froze again. We're just going to leave it frozen because I'm not going to close it. So as long as you can still hear me.
Yep.
All right, cool. Can I open this? Oh, I can't even see that. Whatever. I'm going to close this because people might actually think that the stream's frozen and try and reload it. Close these. 1 second, I'll be right back.
Yeah.
I don't know why it does this only when my camera's turned on.
Judging you. It's trying to catch the perfect picture.
It's catching something. It's about to catch these hands. That's what it's about to do. These hands. Oh, sorry. Focused. Focus. Anyway.
Alright.
So anyway, I started blasting. I love how Mr. settles in with Susan and gives Harry a very satisfied look, and Harry says, rub it in for a ball. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, before he leaves, because Susan retires into the bedroom and hunkers down under many blankets because apparently it's very cold.
Freezing, yeah, especially with no heat. The
Focus,
fire's
yeah.
already died down all the way.
Yeah, exactly. In Chicago, I don't know what time of year it is. I don't remember if he said, but Chicago can get pretty cold. But as they approach the church, Harry goes over two things. One, he says that dawn is magically important. It's about new beginnings, and that magic isn't necessary. And this is both of these, and just magic in general, necessarily isn't evil or good. It's just power. I took that as kind of like shades of gray. but the night is equated with a lot of black magic, which black magic is evil. So there's like kind of this balance between dusk and dawn, and like you said, the dawn being new beginnings and things like that, and ghosts and spirits having to leave this world and go back to the Never Never when dawn happens or approaches. The other thing is that he says that he gets a weary feeling, kind of the heebie-jeebies when it comes to churches. And he said not for like a weird way, but because the church in its day it was responsible for killing a lot of wizards, thinking that they were in league with dark magic. So there's just like this kind of like, I don't want to say bad blood, but there's kind of this like, yeah.
Bit of a,
a sullied past between the two. Let's say that. It's fall right now, Harry's favorite time of year. Okay. I missed that whenever they said it. So yeah, Chicago in the fall, and with no heating, that would be cold. That would be very cold. It's a dark history. Yep. Thank you, Christy. Yeah, that's a better way to put it. Yeah, and he says that the daylight. Then they go around back of the church to the back entrance, and this is where Michael and Harry find the cars that are absolutely demolished. Like everything's wrecked on them. Hood, glass, headlights, rear lights, the antennas snapped off of a couple cars. They've been thoroughly wrecked. What was the other one? Oh yes, and as they approach the door, there's some rose bushes that he said someone had taken the time to lovingly plant them and take care of them, and then something else had taken the time to absolutely destroy them, uprooting them out of the ground and tearing them apart. And Harry gets a little closer to inspect them, looking for, as he tells Michael, he's looking for blood, because the thorns on roses have a very prickly nature, and they tend to go through most things. So if someone was ripping rose bushes apart like that, there should be blood, and there should be footprints in the dirt, but there's neither of them, which confirms that this is a ghost, or this is some sort of spirit, which Michael asks, like, is it still here? Like, would it still be here? And Harry's like, well, no, usually when daylight hits, ghosts have to go back to the Never Never. And Michael's like, usually? Or like, he's like, yeah, well, usually without exception. He's like, okay. And then he said that because there's no footprint, Michael says that because there's no footprints or blood, it has to be a ghost. And Harry's like, I really hope not. He's like, what do you mean? He's like, well, ghosts normally they can affect things on the physical plane in like bursts, like knocking over books over a bookshelf, and in very rare circumstances, like stacking chairs, which are kind of like, they're cliches, I guess. They're normal, like paranormal events, right? And he says that they're also usually tied to a place, time, or event. The fact that this ghost followed Lydia here, destroyed the cars, then destroyed the rose bushes, or, vice versa. The fact that it did these multiple different acts throughout the entire night, he says that it's stronger than any ghost he's ever heard of. Though Harry does say that ghosts are not his specialty, but still, the fact that it's stronger than any ghost he's ever heard of sounds kind of insane.
Yep.
And this is when they knock on the door to talk to Father Forthill to get more details. And it's funny that he greets them. He has like a very more personal greeting for Michael. Embraces him, kisses him on both cheeks and whatnot. We need Bob. We do need Bob. That's true. We need Bob. And then he says, like, hi to Harry. And it's like very like, meeting your best friend or seeing your best friend, whatever. And then you like seeing not a stranger, but like a coworker or something. Like, oh, hey, how's it going? Or whatever. It's two very different, hellos, interactions. But I also love the fact that think the father's one who says it. He's like, I've never been asked by someone to bless 5 gallons, bless a 5-gallon drum for holy water. And Michael's like, what? He's like, what? I had a ghoul problem. I had to take care of him. Oh yeah, and then Michael is like, Harry, you've been keeping secrets from me. And he's like, well, contrary to what Charity says, I don't come running to you every time I have a little problem. But then Father gives us he lets them in and gives them the details of what happened that night. That Lydia did go to him. It seems like right after she met with Dresden, she followed his instructions. She went to the Father. The Father saw through her pain and weariness and stuff, and he said that she was she hadn't showered, she was weary, she hadn't eaten in forever, and he suspected she was going through drug withdrawals, kind of like that shakiness and just kind of like poor health look. So he gave her clothes, let her bathe, and fed her, and he said that that's when the first event took place, I guess, where she started shaking, the eyes rolled back in her head, where to the point where I think she like dropped the soup on the ground and stuff too. Like she went kind of not unresponsive. He thought she may have been having a seizure, or maybe it was just extreme withdrawal. But either way, he took care of her, calmed her down, started to get her ready for bed, and that's when I'd say the paranormal activity happened. Because this first event, Harry said it sounded like Cassandra's tears, and the Father said it may have just been drug withdrawals. So it may not have been like supernatural, but I don't know. I kind of felt like it was, but we'll see.
I mean, I'm not sure yet.
Yeah. It could be both, technically. She may have taken drugs to lessen the effect of Cassandra's tears or something. I don't know. But he got her tucked in, and he started reading some gospels. I don't remember. He says what gospel, but he starts reading a gospel to her, which seemed to calm her down a little bit. And then 10 minutes later is when it really starts to pop off. They first heard the wind howling around the building, and then they heard noises, and then they heard to the point where something outside started calling Lydia's name. Now, Lydia, from our understanding, Lydia is not her real name, because when Harry asked for her name, she said, I'm not giving a wizard my name. And he's like, fair, there's power in a name. So we don't know what her real name is, but either way, he says it started calling her name. And Father tried to question it, asking who it was, what its intention was, which the creature just laughed at him. And at that point, the Father compelled him, very Exorcist style, to leave the premise. And that's when the creature went mad, and they heard it smashing the cars and making just a right mess of things. And it lasted like all night, from what it sounded like. They'd occasionally hear, another car being smashed or something else being damaged. And it would they said they heard it pacing too, which also, well, I don't know how you'd hear it pacing. I guess because like with ghosts, at least from like pop culture and movies and stuff, St. Matthew's Gospel is what he read. Okay, gotcha. I don't know much about those.
Yeah, because there's no footprints or anything out there in ghosts.
Right. But I guess ghost events, you can hear footsteps and there aren't any visual footsteps. True. So I guess maybe that makes sense. But either way, it continued until morning, or just before dusk. No, not dusk. Sunrise. And then they didn't hear anything more. At one point, I think after... Yeah, when it was going berserk, I'm pretty sure, Lydia tried to convince the Father to let her go to the creature, because she thought he wasn't going to be safe, like he was going to get hurt. But he refused. He kept her safe. Once they didn't hear any more noises outside, the father went around the perimeter or inside to check the doors and the windows and make sure they're still locked. And when he came back, Lydia was gone. It looked like she wasn't taken. She voluntarily went out of the building, left and closed the door behind her, and then he didn't see her again. So, and that's pretty much all he knew. So, he did make a point that, like, he said that he'd never had an experience before. He said it was the scariest experience in his life, and he was not ashamed to tell them that. He also asked Harry, less Michael, because I think Michael just knows this, but he asked Harry to not speak of what happened tonight. Don't tell the authorities. The authorities will say that it was a unknown vandalism and whatnot. And Harry says, "Oh, a little white lie, Father," which he says he immediately regretted saying after he'd said it. And the father tells him that evil gains power from fear. Telling people of what happened would only strengthen them in their evil ways. And he's like, "Oh, that actually makes sense. You kind of sound like a wizard, Father." And Father kind of looks shocked and then kind of just laughs it off. And because I, like, when he first said that he didn't want, the truth to come out, I was like, why? Is it because people wouldn't believe it? But when he said, like, evil gains power and fear, and this would only cause fear, it was like, oh, no, there actually is a reason that makes sense. So I thought that was interesting. He also said, like, they have, what do you say? Go ahead while I'm thinking.
I just think that's like the typical thing. Like you can't lie, and Michael's all upset about him lying to his gun, but it's like,
that's fair.
The right thing to do. I mean, right, Michael? You tell your little lies, huh?
Well, I also think Michael is, like, he's righteous, so I think he's like, to equate it to D&D, he's lawful good. It's good all the time, period. Anything that would be, like, morally gray, he's absolutely against. Where Father sounds like he's more in the gray. He is good, but he's more in the gray area. He's like neutral good. Like, he does good and he wants to help people, but if lying will help people, then he's gonna lie. Like, if that makes sense.
Got a little wizard in him.
Exactly, he's got a little wizard in him. Exactly, yeah. When Foothill asked why Dresden didn't ask for God's help, Dresden was hilarious. He says, "I did seek God's help. Heck, was one night of the cross enough?" Yeah. Should I put up the bat signal for the other two? That part was really good too. That was really funny. And Father's like, "That's not what I meant, and it, Dresden." But he also kind of like giggles at it. Yeah, he also said, like, when he was talking about the evil gains power and, like, covering up what actually happened, he said that the church has, like, the function, the facility, like, they have people for that. And I was like, wait a minute, so you have a group of people of the church that covers up paranormal events? So you essentially have a White Council as well, or you're very similar to the White Council,
like that.
in some ways. Yeah. But yeah, they give their farewells, and Father talks to Michael a little bit more for a moment. They make a date for christening the child when Charity has the baby and all that. On their way out, though, they kind of plan what their next moves are. Michael's going to take a look around and converse with some people to see if they can find Charity, or not. I'm sorry, not Charity. Find Lydia and see where she went off to. While Harry goes and talks to a psychic in Old Town and possibly Bob. And Michael is just like, I really don't like the fact that you're communing with the spirits. It's unholy. And he's like, whoa, hang on. Bob's not a familiar. I have to pay him. And he's like, you pay him in what? And he's like, well, usually smutty romance novels, and sometimes if I really need help, I have to do it. He's like, no, stop. No. I don't want to know.
Yeah.
I don't want to know. Yeah, that's right. Michael calls him a necromancer, and Harry's just like talking about the psychic, and Harry's like, he's not a necromancer. He fakes it most of the time. He's a con artist. But yeah, which is also kind of very like lawful good, like I was talking about with Michael. Because he's like, can't you just do a spell or something, Harry? And Harry's like, well, no, this isn't my area of expertise. Because it was a spirit, there's no physical thing. If it was a demon, I'd have like maybe a psychic trail that I could, or a paranormal trail I could lead, follow, and things like that. Sorry, it's important. Oh, the necromancer bit? That's all good. Hey, don't you say sorry, Christy. How dare you? Dare you? But yeah, necromancy is important because necromancy is black magic. It's dark magic. It's evil magic. Because the White Council is against necromancy. I'll get to that here in a second. But anyway, Harry says no. Like, there's nothing I can do. This is our best lead. And Michael's like, all right, fine. And then they split ways, and this is where we roll into chapter 10. But that is a good point. Like, because necromancy is a form of magic, but it is. I was gonna say it's frowned upon with the White Council, but it's more than that. Because like,
yeah, it's against the laws.
Yeah, if the Mortimer Lindquist, which is the psychic that we're gonna talk to in a moment. If he was actually a necromancer, the White Council would have beheaded him already. It's like, oh damn, that's extreme. But yeah, no, they have zero tolerance for black magic. This next part is also very funny.
Another thing I wanted to note, when the vampires came and delivered the thing, like, he's a representative of the White Council, and he said he gets to vote on things and such. He's actually a part of the White Council, like, in a way.
He is definitely part of the White, because Susan asks him if he's a what does he ask? An ambassador of the White Council. And he laughs at that. He's like, no, I'm not an ambassador, but I am a member. I mean, you're right. That is a good point. He gets to vote on things. He says it's like a black belt. It's a sign of status being part of the White Council. But you do get perks with it.
Interesting.
Yeah. And Harry says he is a charlatan. Michael asks why you even use him then, but Harry says he's probably closer to the spirit world than anyone else in town.
Exactly.
And he also
he used to have some gift, it sounds like.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. He seems to have lost his gift, but he used to be much stronger than he was. Well, okay. Before I get to that, because he calls him something specifically. But his name's Mortimer Lindquist. His house is well, I say house, but it's really not. It looks like a haunted mansion from Disneyland. There's a bunch of like fake gargoyles. There's I think it's even a fake wrought iron, like the black wrought iron fence that you see in like spooky mansions and stuff. It's that, but I think that's also fake. But the house is a red roof, white stucco copy from a house from like San Francisco or something. So it's very like the things don't match. It's very weird. And like he's trying, right? He's trying. And like most things around the house, they're just fake. Like I was saying, fake gargoyles, things like that. He said, weirdly enough, if you popped a pink flamingo on the front lawn, it would not look out of place. Yeah, right. He just doesn't have the singing heads. Exactly.
It's beautiful.
Council, yes, I like that council too. That sounds like a nice council, Chantel. And Dresden goes up to the door. Who's barking? I think that's Appa.
Yeah, that's Appa.
Yeah, it's Appa.
He's barking.
He goes up to the door to knock, but right before he knocks, the door swings open, and Mortimer's backing out of the door carrying a giant luggage thing. So Harry just like sidesteps him. Mort never notices him at all, and then he slides in the door and goes. And this part is interesting. It kind of like going back to what I was saying is not a house. As Harry enters the door, he says he didn't feel the tingle that he normally would feel entering a house uninvited, or a home uninvited, because this isn't a home, it's a business. Like it doesn't have the qualities of a home, which I thought was interesting because that's very much a vampire thing, at least from what we traditionally know about vampires. They can't enter a home. but wizards, they can still enter a home, but it looks like there's oh wait, didn't he say something about that in book 2 as well? When he was book 1, sorry, book 1, when he was entering the Victor's house, like at the end fight. Maybe he mentioned it.
Like I feel like he did. I'm not sure though.
But yeah, there's a protective barrier when it comes to homes and being uninvited, it seems, for most magical creatures. Oh, even the demon. The demon wasn't invited, and it had to like force its way into his home.
Oh right, yeah.
He'll explain it soon in this book too. Okay, cool. Yeah. I'll say he touched on it before, I know. I just can't remember where exactly. But either way, he slips in. More so of like outside. There's fakeness in here too. There's a fake human skull on the bookshelf. There's encyclopedias that have had their spines scraped off, so they just look like big bound books. And there's like carvings of monsters in the walls or stuff. Like it's just like a whole. It's very theatrical, from what it sounds like. Excuse me. And then as Morty, as Harry calls him, plastic skull, yeah, exactly. As he comes back in, Harry's just like, "Hi, Morty, sit down." And immediately Morty's just like, "I didn't do it. I haven't been doing anything that you guys told me not to do, that the White Council came by and said." And Harry's like, "Oh shit, the White Council actually did send someone." This is where he says Morty's he's a con man. He fakes it most of the time. He has like fake seances to communicate with relatives. Pretty much what you know. Like, well, okay, I might be setting some people off, but pretty much what you think about with a psychic. And nowadays, like, they're frauds. They're
sham, a fraud,
a
shyster.
It's kind of that typical like you said, shyster.
He's just grifting people out here.
I can't read my handwriting what this says. Anyway, we'll just skip that. But yeah, he's a con man. Heard those. You did hear those air quotes, right? Charlatan. Yeah, exactly. And Harry says, "Well, you used to be good." Like he says, "Oh, that's right. Okay, I can read it now." He asked where he's going because he's obviously in a hurry to get out. He said, "Oh, I'm going to. I have to go visit my sixth sister." It's like, okay, yeah, sure, bud. And Dresden's like, "What happened to you? I remember reading your book, Ghosts of Chicago, The Spook Factor, and they were actually pretty good. And like 20 years ago, you were a good paranormal investigator. You're what we would call an ectomancer back in the business. What happened to you? And like why have you? Well, he doesn't ask why you've lost your powers, but he says that he doesn't. Well, Morty tries to convince Harry that, or maybe more convince himself, that he is helping people. Like, people don't want to talk to, their long dead uncle and make sure they're okay that they didn't go to their funeral. They like the idea of being able to communicate with the dead more and like kind of like proof that there's an afterlife. At least that's the kind of sense that I got from what he was saying, but he was trying to convince himself more than anything else. And Harry says, like, you don't believe that. You don't believe what you're doing is good. That's why you lost your power. That's why you're not the psychic you were 20 years ago. But he tries to convince him, like, hey, you can be, like, if you do good, if you believe in what you're doing, like, you could get your powers back. And Morty just doesn't even like pay him any mind. And then he hints, like, there's the spiritual world. Like, I'm not involved in anything that's happening. What's going on? He's like, what is going on? He's like, well, I hear things. I heard that you and the knight are taking care of most of the bad stuff. But it's getting worse and worse. And Harry's like, well, why do you think that is? Like, what's going on? He was like, well, have you not read my book, They Shall Rise? And he's like, yeah, the one about the doom and gloom and the what's the word? The apocalyptic event. Are you still there?
Yep.
Okay, sorry. I saw my Discord flicker and I was like, what is happening?
Good.
But he explains like his theory of the barrier between the Never Never and the world getting thinner and thinner, and that's why ghosts seem to be able to cross over the line easier and more frequently. And he also says that because of this, the newer formed ghosts are going to be way stronger, which we haven't seen any of that yet.
Unless the super ghost that he was talking that scraped up those cars.
Oh, true. I didn't think about that.
It's possible because I was thinking it might be a different creature entirely. I was like, maybe something else. Maybe it's not a ghost. But this adds maybe a little bit of fluid to the cup that it could be a ghost still.
Do you remember when Lydia first had her premonition with the 3 spirits? It was recent, wasn't it?
Yeah, it must have been just recently.
Hey, John, how's it going, dude?
Freaked out. Yeah, so I'm assuming. I don't know if it may have said, but I'm not sure. Yeah.
Oh, that's true. Harry did slam the door with magic, which made him pucker.
Yeah.
And slid the chair out.
Slammed the door and slid the chair all slick.
Happy Saturday,
down, buddy.
Happy Saturday, to you, John.
Saturday, John.
Wifey came back today, right? Or yesterday?
Ooh.
Hopefully you guys are having fun. She was at a conference or work related. Yeah, that's a good point. I actually never thought about because I also thought it was a different, like some sort of new ghost if it was nothing that he's stronger than anything he's ever heard of. But I didn't think about a newly dead ghost.
Yeah, this could be like something fresh.
Because although
whole jello-y wall thing is coming down a bit.
Yeah, this whole like Morty talking about the wall and stuff, even though it sounds like, at least it seems like Harry doesn't really believe it and it sounds kind of crazy, I feel like he's probably right.
You know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, that kind of makes sense with his like godmother finding him so fast. If the walls became weaker, so she kind of already knows. Yeah.
Yeah, like, she would have seen the entrance and him kind of where they would have come in from. Yeah, no, that's a good point too.
We're getting crummies.
We are getting crummies, and they're piecing together. We're making a sandwich out of these crumbs.
That's a gross sandwich.
That's a gross sandwich. Yeah, you're right. You're not wrong. It's a gross sandwich. And then the car beeps outside. Morty's taxi is there, and he buggers off. And
deuces.
At the last minute, Harry tries to convince him, like, take the time off, like, recuperate, read a book, get back to your old self. You can get your power back if you just stop, like, pretending and swindling people like this. And Mort doesn't really listen to him at all and just kind of gets laughs at him. And as he's driving away, he does yell back to Dresden that if he really wants to know what's going on, or if he wants to try and take this thing head on, where to find his notes on what he's found out, or whatever he's communicated with the spirits, or we don't know, because the chapter ends with Harry finding the notes but not diving into them yet. I'm assuming that's what's happening next chapter. That's it?
That's a nice little... Yeah, again, we're stopped. But oh, it's good.
A lot of breadcrumbs. There's so much good. Normally, the 5 chapters that we read per week, I have a favorite chapter, or at least there's one that's like more interesting than the rest. This not the case. I think maybe the last chapter with Mort was probably the least interesting, or at least not as exciting because things weren't really happening. But man, there's just non-stop
Just good.
action
That's like,
or just good.
keep plugging along real quick here. We're getting
Really
into it.
are.
He knows how to like what he's got to do. He's like, all right, well, I need some more information. Let me go get my info peoples out. So he breaks up the new guy, because Bob, we've used Bob a couple times already, so we don't want to just Bob every time. We love Bob. Obviously,
do.
I want him to Bob every time, but it's fine to like throw this other character in. I really like that. It was good.
I really do like Michael. He's very cool.
Yep. Really good.
It's Butcher. Butcher's amazing. He really is. He really, really is. There's so many questions that I want to learn more about. I want to learn more about what's going on with the barbed wire inside the ghost, like that they saw in Agatha. I want to know more about the Godmother. I want to know more about Michael. I want to know more about Lydia and whatever creature is stalking her. Like, there's so much going on. I'm very excited to find more. I can see why people say already that people say that this is the book where things really start kicking off.
Yeah,
because it has
throwing magic around. It's good. I mean, even if it's a little bit, it's still like that's a good amount. It's like
that's true. The first 10 chapters, we already get a magic fight with a ghost in the Never Never. That's
and
awesome.
He keeps blowing the wind on people. Got the vampires with the wind, and then he's hitting the door and the chair.
That's true. Like, I also really want to see what happens with this ascension ball thing, because he's gonna go.
He's going.
Like,
he's going. Susan's gonna make him. Come on.
I wonder if the White Council is also gonna step in and be like, "Hey, we know you got this invitation. You have to go."
That would be sick.
We might see Morgan, because Morgan was tasked with it being his ward. Now, granted, he's not the warden anymore because Dresden's off the hook of he's no longer being like investigated or whatever, but I'm guessing Morgan is still technically his warden. So we might see Morgan again.
Yeah. It's one way or another, right?
Yeah, for sure. All right, guys. Well, before we wrap up, I do want to ask, come Monday, do you know what you want to stream? Do you want to do more Gray Zone?
Whatever's totally fine. Gray Zone's good.
Yeah, we're playing for Gray Zone. Gray Zone's fun. We had a good time. So we'll be streaming on Monday with Gray Zone and a whole week of streams. But before then, so you got your V Rising stream tonight. When does that start?
In about an hour and a half.
Okay. Are you starting a new run, or are you starting from where you left off?
I'm gonna start from where I'm at right now, since it's past the beginning point and it's where the game kind of I feel gets interesting, because I feel like the beginning's a little slow to be expected when it's just you got some things to grind, especially solo.
Sure.
There was a bit more grinding of materials, and I've gotten to the good point where I can get out of the second tier and onto the fun stuff, I think.
Have you already built your castle, or are you?
I've got an okay. It's messy. Like it's an embarrassment if Christy saw it. It's an embarrassment.
Thank you, Looney, for the link there. I'll actually pin that right.
Thank you, Looney.
I could have pinned it earlier, but I completely forgot. Buy and hang out. I'm actually going to be cooking and filming,
Sweet.
which takes a while.
That's a lot, yeah. No.
What would normally take an hour to prepare a meal turns into like 3 hours, because I have to do everything one at a time so I can film each step, so it takes forever. So I'm gonna try and pop in and at least say hi, but
oh, you're good, man. Don't even.
But it's gonna take a while, so let's see. But yeah, thank you guys. That was chapters 6 through 10. You good for next weekend, or any plans?
Yep. Should be fine.
Okay. All right, then we'll plan for next weekend for the next 5 chapters. But like I said, we'll be streaming on Monday, a whole week full of streams. So come on, hang out. Thank you as always.
Yeah. Thanks so much, guys.
Yeah. Take care, everyone.
See ya.
Bye.